Hello everybody, it's Zach. I just wanted to do this little vlog to give an update on how my channel is going and also to give out a little special announcement, well not a special announcement, but just argue about something more towards the end of this video. So yeah, I'm still looking for a new car. Right now I'm just borrowing a whole bunch of other vehicles, other people's vehicles to get around the place for work and stuff like that. But, yeah, still working for a vehicle, and that's taken up some of my time there, more of my time than I would like to, and I'm still working overtime, but I have a feeling that even if I was to get a new car, that I would still end up working a lot of overtime. Like, I'm working 11-hour days for the past few weeks, so that is one of the reasons as to why my time has been kept on getting sucked up, so therefore I haven't had much time to like focus on my channel and so forth. But as I was saying, even if I was to get a new car, I have a feeling that for the foreseeable future at least, I'm still going to be kept on getting pulled for these 11-hour work days. Mostly because a new guy, or formerly new guy, like he was only a few months on the job before he got fired. But yeah, one of the newer guys that we were trying to like train to become a driver so that he could like take my place in the afternoons so that I can actually get off of work on time and he can take my place to finish up the loads for the day. Well, the deliveries for the day. Well, he got fired. I'm just going to say that. Like, I'm not going to reveal as to why, but yeah, he got fired, and so therefore it's back on me as I'm a delivery driver, I'm a delivery truck driver, and so it's back on me to like get caught up on the daily runs of the day. Like if there's a whole bunch of loads and whatnot, say packages that have to be taken to UPS or FedEx, for example, and other places like that, like at the very bare end of the day, it falls on me now because we have no afternoon driver. That kind of sucks, so it ends up being a real gouge into my time in my day. So 11-hour work days. I mean, on the bright side, it's a whole lot of overtime and it's getting me considerably closer to being able to comfortably buy a new car. I mean, that's the bright side. But yeah, I mean, I'm still working on video projects. Like I'm currently working on a response video to Owen Cuckdonald on his strawman and lies that he was talking about me in that one live stream that he had with S-Man, and plus I'm still planning to get finished with that collab video with Loudmouth Reviews, and I'm still working as well on the year-end review of 2018. It's just that is taking longer time as well because I'm trying to focus more of my energies currently on the Owen Cuckdonald response video. But yeah, so that's what the state of my channel is, and for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to go back full throttle on the activity of my channel. So it's going to still be relatively slow to what I was doing before. But anyway, so on to the more serious stuff. So as some of you might have heard, Humane, he has been saying some rather stupid shit, to be quite honest. Like, he's generalizing the LGBT community as a whole to be supportive of pedophilia. And I'm going to say right now that this just makes me want to give up on the guy. Like, you all know of how much I have been an ardent defender of Humane Mind, where everyone else would keep on ragging on him and so on and so forth. But this is why that I want to make this video, or one of the reasons other than the channel update, is because I know, because if the past has told me anything regarding Voltaire, Gemini, or anyone else like that, if the past had told me anything, I can only presume that I would probably get shit indirectly or even directly regarding Humane Mind. But yeah, I'm just going to say that I'm done with him. Like, as far as the claim itself of the LGBT community supposedly being supportive of pedophilia, I'm not buying it. Like, it's a gross overgeneralization, to be quite honest. I mean, yeah, you can point out like some publicized, like mainstream, big time events that seem almost pedophilic in nature, or borderlining outright pedophilic, or just apathetic towards pedophilia. But I am highly convinced, from my own observation, that the average Joe LGBT person is not condoning or even outright condemning of pedophilia, as was shown when everybody was arguing with Humane this last week over that issue. You got Cold of Ham, Secular, Hawk as well. Brandon, I think, might have participated a little bit. Oh yes, Chairview and Dead Kyle as well. A couple of, well, actually no, Chair's bisexual and Kyle's gay, I think is what it is. But anyway, you get my point. Lots of LGBT people have been speaking out against him, saying, no, we are outspoken against pedophilia. All right, you are overgeneralizing. But yeah, he goes basing his claim of how the LGBT community is supposedly supportive, generally, of pedophilia off of anecdotes in large part. And I gotta say, that's very unconvincing. And here, I will link the main tweet in question that I'm going to be reading down in the description box below. But here is what he said. One second. He said, the LGBT community supports Desmond and Lactatia as well as RuPaul and his drag race show. This is mainstream LGBT, not fringe one-offs. And like I said, I'll just give the benefit of the doubt that in large part, mainstream LGBT might be apathetic or even outright pedophilic, but anyway, they also support jazz despite that unfortunate kid's experience with puberty blockers. Owen Benjamin was ostracized for speaking against trans kids. Okay, as far as trans kids go, I mean, agree or disagree with whether or not kids should be allowed to like get their transition their gender transitions done if they want to. Agree or disagree on that. I wouldn't go so far to say that that is pedophilic. I mean, maybe, I don't know. No, never mind. But again, the average Joe LGBT person, and even a good portion, like half or over half of LGBT political commentators and social commentators over the internet and so forth, all are not supportive of LGBT or are not supportive of pedophilia, or outright condemning of pedophilia. And so I say in response to Humane Mind, unless you find stats that show that a vast majority of the LGBT community supports pedophilia, which I highly doubt, I'll never be convinced that LGBT support pedos. I'm truly not interested in your anecdotes, Humane Mindless. And so yeah, anecdotes do not prove a generality amongst a group of people of some claim being fact. I mean, anecdotes get overly sensationalized, yeah, and I guess this would be a case of where an anecdote is getting overly sensationalized. I mean, not to say that anecdotes are completely irrelevant, but they are not very strong in proving a generality within a given group. Even if he was to like find some stats, like the vast majority, like over half of people in the LGBT community were to supposedly be supportive of pedophilia, he might have just a little bit more of an argument of right there. But even then, I would not assume guilty until proven innocent. That if I meet an LGBT person, that yeah, they're supportive of pedophilia. No, I will still assume innocent until proven guilty regarding that claim. But as far as I know, again, there are no stats. I mean, everyone else that goes mentioning stats as well, like Reckless Trucker even mentioned himself, which he's kind of half and half on this whole argument in response to my retweet of Humane Mind's tweet. Reckless Trucker, aka Chris Henry, says, to an extent, you're both right. The largest and most popular LGBT groups support this weird and creepy shit, but we've never seen studies about how many individuals support or even know about this creepy shit. And I will say that in my own personal observation, like, I tried Googling this shit of how much, like, find polls or studies or whatever of how much of the LGBT community, what percentage, like, supports pedophilia or condemns pedophilia. Yeah, I was actually trying to research that. What percentage of the LGBT community condemns pedophilia? And if I found a stat like that, I would include it in this video right here as evidence against Humane Minds' claims about how supposedly the LGBT comm is supportive of pedophilia. I would use that stat, but it's not there. What I did find, however, is that there's like at least a quarter to even a third of pedophilic acts reported of cases of pedophilia are done by gay people. So yeah, they are overrepresented in the stats because that's a third to a quarter of acts of pedophilia conducted by a group of people that makes up less than 2% of the US population. I mean, even if they're overrepresented, that does not necessarily that it's not a minority of the group. And in this case, it is a minority. I mean, even if overrepresented, it is still a minority of people in the LGBT community that conduct pedophilia. And I would presume that the supermajority of the rest of the LGBT community would be condemning of that pedophilia conducted by those people in the LGBT community. Whereas the rest, by the way, the other 3/4 to 2/3 are conducted by, regular straight people, But again, just because they're overrepresented, that does not justify an overgeneralization that some group is supportive or is XYZ. Like, I'll bring up an example here. Homicides. Over half of them, or about half of them, if not over half of them, are conducted by black people. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I'll provide the source down below of where I got these, but about 50% are conducted by a community or by a group of people that makes up about 13 to 15% of the US population. So basically, they are overrepresented in homicide rates in the United States as well. But that's still a minority of black people that commit homicides and whatnot. I mean, just because criminal black people, homicidal black people make up over 50% of homicides, that does not mean that all black people are homicidal or anything like that. I mean, far from it. They still make up a minority of that given amount of people. Like, say, I'm just going to pull out an arbitrary number. I do not know what the actual number is. But let's say thousands or even tens of thousands of homicides a year. And thousands or even tens of thousands of black people that committed homicides. You're going to use all those people to generalize millions upon millions of other people to be homicidal. That is a gross overgeneralization, and I would say even outright that yes, by definition, it is racist to be generalizing like that. And by that measure, so goes with this whole thing about the LGBT community and pedophilia. I mean, you are generalizing like a few thousand LGBT people who conduct pedophilia. You're using those to justify generalizing a community that is of millions of people to be supportive of pedophilia. I would go so far to say that is bigoted. And if anybody else wants to call Humane Mind bigoted, well then, yeah, I can't defend that, in all honesty. And so, I mean, it's quite sad too, because honestly, I liked Humane Mind for the longest time, and I don't want to dislike him right now. I mean, yes, I will admit his flaws, like he is very weak when it comes to social issues, and he can be a big douchebag, but this is one of the big moments of him being very, very weak and off base on social issues, and just flat out wrong, and at the same time, being a complete and utter douchebag about it as well. Like, oh, you and your circle jerk of people. To quote your senpai, Humane Mind, that's not an argument, just because we're supposedly a circle jerk. And really, I liked his perspective on economics and so forth, and really, we did kick ass in that live stream, responding to Richard Spencer and his claims on race and individuality versus collectivism, and of how Richard Spencer was so wrong on those issues and for supporting a white ethno-state. I thought that me and him and everyone else who participated in those streams kicked Richard Spencer's ass. But despite all that, I don't think that is worth the putting up with the negative weight of this right here. Of him being borderline slanderous, of generalizing the LGBT community to be supportive of pedophilia. And so, I think that's all that I have to say. So yeah, to you, Humane Mind, take care, I guess. But I'm done. I've just given up on you. And to all the rest of you, stay tuned. I am still working on videos and so forth. We'll try to get as many uploaded as possible, as fast as I can, without completely losing my sanity. And I will try as quick as possible to get the YouTube channel back up and running at full gear. But until then, stay tuned, stay safe, and see y'all later. God bless.